Mate, one of the things I love about it, and again, check this out, is the front cover, and there's a story behind that as well, and I love it because it takes me back to when I was young, and it takes me back to my father and all that as well. So, just quickly, the story behind that.
Okay, so the front cover art itself is actually by a French guy called Gaël Legal. I don't know how to pronounce it. Elegoe.
I had the name down, and I gave up on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Champion French guy who loves his graphic design and World War II art. And the first time I saw that photo,
I just want to show you.
it wasn't to do with an album cover. It was that had to go there.
Yeah.
So I actually had the tattoo first.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and then we actually contemplated the idea of not knowing whether we'd get permission of actually using my tattoo as the album cover.
Yeah.
But it wasn't sort of, going to sit properly, and in the end I approached the artist, and he was happy to give us permission, and I paid some fees for some alterations and stuff like that to be done. And
these were all based, the alterations, was trying to get ahead of you, but they're all based on the old Commando comics.
Well, that were a little bit before that. So the original image was rectangular.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then my brother Stevens is also a graphic designer. He was able to modify it and add a bit more width to it so that we could
put in a bit more of the wing. Yeah.
So that we could get it to fit the requirements for an album cover and for internet art.
Remember the old Commando comics on tops, which have a dagger on the back?
Well,
yeah.
It was earlier this year we realised that my grandfather, who was a Royal Marine in the Royal Navy in the UK, that he'd actually passed a commando course, and it was actually early in the war. And thinking about that, and still not having released the album, even though I had permission to use the artwork, I'm just looking at it thinking, gee, that'd make a good
tattoo,
a good Commando comics cover.
Yeah.
So I threw this idea at Steve, and I told him what I wanted, and he sent back all these ideas. And after a bit of shuffling with the placement, and then I said, look, Commando used to have a knife, a Commando dagger going through the C. I said, I want a SG style guitar going through the O of Rogue.
Yeah.
We did all that. We bought a font, and so that we owned everything. But because we were borrowing the concept, I then approached the publishers of Commando Comics, who are based in Dundee in Scotland, and asked them who I need to speak to in the marketing department. And they just gave me all the direct channels, and then within a day, 2 days, they wrote back to say that there's no breach of copyright, they love what we've done, and with their blessing, they gave me permission to go ahead.
I got to tell you, the emotion and the story behind, Rogue Sharks is fantastic. When you put it into, it's ROGUE.
Yeah. Don't type Rouge Sharks.
Rouge Sharks. I don't know how long.
Just to recap, we got the Commando comic look based on the just that hint of that Commando, which was a little nod to acknowledging how well our pop had done.
Yeah.
He was out of 40 recruits in that camp in that particular run. There were only 8.
Yeah.
And he was in the top 8, and they couldn't back then. They didn't have an award for the best recruit, but he was the most athletic. He actually got a medal for his athleticism. Yeah. So we're quite proud of that.
I'll whack a photo up on those.
That's good. Yeah.
That's brilliant stuff. We've spoken about it before, and it's like first time I've heard the whole story. It's really good stuff. With the both of you, back to you, Rose, like a lot of influence, and you mentioned you touched on it before, like with your mum and with the country and the going to rock. Were there any other influences other than that in?
Like I love blues. Etta James is probably one of my all-time. When she passed away, I cried. Not that I knew, but Etta James, Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin, Paul Rogers, but that's more of the rock stuff. But it's singers and musicians with real feeling and that guttural, you know, their heart's breaking. You can just feel it. You know, you can feel them crying almost.
Yeah.
So I've always been someone that dislikes soul, not necessarily as in song, like I love soul music, but as in just feeling, just not, how can I say it without offending anyone, not lollipop kind of no feeling stuff. I like stuff with feeling and emotion,
Not
and
manufactured.
and just guttural from real life experience.
Yeah.
And because
I mean, you can hear that in your singing. You know,
Thank you.
It's what and you know we've had discussions on this before. You know, where you know, sometimes you get a little bit worried about where you're saying your influences from. You know, and I'm big enough shoulder not to worry, but Freddie Mercury's my hero. You know, I you know, if anyone challenges me on that, I don't care. You know, it's just one of the great. And you listen to the early Queen stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the first say 3 albums.
yeah,
Before your Radio Gagas and all that, whatever they like, it's just
raw,
brilliant,
yeah.
and the different genres of music and the versatility on it. You know, every song is different. You listen to it, and then it's just, you know, they're doing songs that sound like Metallica did a cover of one of their songs, and and then they changed the tempo of it. You know, it's just incredible.
I guess around the time when I discovered Bon Scott too, like I remember Mum had the Dirty Deeds album, you know, with the his arm and that, and I remember studying that. Like when I see it now, it takes me back. But at the same time, we're listening to that, you know, I'd fallen in love with Emmylou Harris and Patsy Cline, and you know, such an eclectic taste. But I guess you remember them, and they touch you for different reasons, you know, with the emotion and with the music. Yeah,
and also your family, you know, you get that the guidance, obviously with your mum. I've read some beautiful stuff, you know, with your mum and your guitar and
someone surprised me.
Just that's great. And and your family, you know, and a lot of stuff. When my brother died, I took on it. I was only 14, and I took on his albums and everything else, like the Buffalo and Hawkwind, and you know, early Black Sabbath and everything. You know, and it was brilliant. Here I am sitting there with, you know, ABBA Arrival on my desk, you know, and Explosive Hit 74, you know. Then all of a sudden I had this record collection, and then it just started.
That's beautiful.
It was great.
Great.
And you know, if he was alive today, you know, with the likes of Buffalo still playing and things like that, and he'd be wrapped in it, you know. So you recently you both worked on Reckless tour. With Dave Wilkins. How'd that go?
That was
really
fun.
good.
Yeah. we actually Mick come up with the concept because you go.
Dave sang at Rose's birthday a couple of years ago, and was just doing the solo thing in the corner of this bar.
Yeah.
And it was just great. Everyone loved it. And then Rose got up and had a sing, and then they were singing together, and I could just hear these two voices. And it's we've got to find a reason to keep this going. And then it was only a couple of days later I said, you know what, we've got a member of Rose Tattoo, a couple of members of Rose Tattoo in the band, we've got a member of Judge Mercy in the band, Dave was with Wrecking Crew. You know,
now they just started back at the time, did they?
They had done a gig a couple of years prior, I believe, a reunion gig, but weren't doing anything at the time. And I was, and I was thinking of the Wrecking Crew, and we've got a line in our song Faded Tattoo, which is Wrecked and Reckless. And I just threw this idea at Rose. It's like, let's ring Dave, put this whole idea together. We'll go out and we'll do a show of Rose CARLEO, Wrecking Crew, Judge Mercy and Rose Tattoo. Make a big night of it. Feature the songs that all the band members have played from, and the guys, Rose and Dave, can share vocal duties with the Judge Mercy and the Wrecking Crew. So we had a coffee and met down at the P&, there on the river, and threw the idea at Dave. He loved it, and it was a good 18 months later before it actually came to fruition because we had COVID. But eventually we were able to put it all together. We put all the set list together. Dave selected the songs, and we let Shady work out what songs he wanted to do. And then out of the blue, he gets a call from Andy Sachon, the singer from Judge Mercy, and he's like, "What are you doing with my songs?"
Oh no!
And Shady's like, "Ooh."
And Andy, of course, sorry, I'm going to interject. He's been playing with Billy Joel for the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, who called you?
And
Yeah.
so we
Requested a seven.
thought that, hello, this isn't going to happen, but it was the exact opposite. He turned around and asked Shady, what songs are you doing from Judge?
Yeah.
And Shady read out a list and he goes, well, I want to request one. And it was one that was off one of their demo albums, which honestly, when you hear it, it all sounds first quality to me.
Yeah.
And it was a really nice blues-based jazz song. And
Yeah.
he said, Rose has got to sing it. So that became part of the set list. But not only that, Rose and I have been doing it acoustically at our duo shows.
Yeah,
People
great
absolutely
song.
love
Great
it.
song, yeah.
Yeah.
One of a kind, it's
Yeah.
called.
Have you got a tape of that anywhere? Or?
Not yet.
No.
No, but I did float the idea with Andy. I messaged, I said, so how would you feel if maybe I want to record it?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might even do a little.
Yeah, because it's so far.
Do it one
removed
day,
from
I'll come
everything
along.
else.
Yeah, I'll come around with my fantastic video gear, which I hope's working.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
So that's how it all came about. It was me thinking of what idea can we
I
put
didn't know,
together
yeah,
to get
that's-
Rose and Dave on the same
Yeah.
stage.
It's funny little story about Dave Wilkins. He's brilliant singer. He's you owe me an interview, mate. I've been chasing him for a little while, but I was up at. It's a funny story. We were up at Daydream Island a couple of weeks ago.
I saw that.
Yeah, we're up at Daydream Island. We're sitting there, we're cruising around the first night there. You know, had a few drinks and whatever. So we'll go down to the local foyer there and watch. You know, the muso. I'd always got a muso on somewhere. You know, and I went down and we walked out. And here's Dave on the stage. You know, just about a year ago. You know, he wasn't doing that song, but you know what I mean. Yeah, doing this acoustic set. It was great. So you know, we were there for 7 days and catching up with him, but. I was going to actually do the interview with him on the island, but he was busy during the day knocking up stuff for another festival, and I was too drunk. So, very drunk. But okay, so what's in store for the both of you is obviously with the band. You're in the studio, so what's the future hold?
Well, we have started tracking some new songs for a new release for Rose CARLEO Band.
Yep.
Something should be out by the end of the year, a single. Just deciding which one.
And I'm going to get an exclusive here.
You are, absolutely.
Where's the genre going on the new album?
Rock.
Aussie blues rock.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely, yeah.
We don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What else
we're
it's
gonna-
good. It's good. It's going to be interesting to.
Yeah.
You've got one of the hottest Aussie rock and rhythm sections.
Yeah.
In Shady and Kingy. So it's,
Yeah.
there's the foundation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one's a little bit more up tempo.
Yep.
A bit of a party song.
Yeah, it is. It's a and it actually might be a guest vocal on it. We're still working that out with a certain someone.
So is it like a commercial side, like burn single? Yeah. You think?
Yeah. Are you talking about the first one?
We'll
or the second
see,
one?
eh?
You
We'll
talking about
see.
the first or the second one?
Oh well, no.
There's-
Obviously, you always hope for the commercial
I
exposure.
reckon. That would be an affirmative. Yeah.
But it's like anything. You've got to have money and people in the right place before you get it commercially.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Mick, as you probably worked out, is a very, very prolific songwriter.
Yeah.
As well, so that we've got a fair bit backed up, ready to go. But also Rogue Sharks, you've probably got about another.
Oh, we've already
2 albums.
started.
Yeah, you've already started tracking
Yeah.
the next one too.
Oh, brilliant.
But I'm
Yeah.
not going to. I'm going to we've got to do this first because we need to get some stuff out.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting with the Sharks to see like from that early '90s type of style to see how the new style's going to generate from that.
The style is still 4 on the floor rock and roll.
Yeah.
But because we've got that older, we've captured that older original sound that we had.
Yeah.
And admittedly, we've given it a little bit of a polish because we've got modern equipment to do that with.
Yeah.
The next album is like, it'll be. I made a point. The last album, if I needed to do an overdub, I'd use one of the old guitars from that era.
Yeah.
This time round, I'll use my Les Paul because I didn't have it back then when those songs were recorded, and just sort of have a little bit more freedom, but it'll still be groove driven.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to make sure.
I love this talk.
I'm just going to make sure because I'm writing for both bands. See, I'm lucky. I've got Rose working with me on her stuff, and I know it's our stuff. And then my brother working with me on our stuff.
Yeah.
But we've got completely different influences and different stories.
Yeah,
So,
but that's good, Bart. When you can do that,
Yeah.
you know, when you can do that.
I love
that's-
co-writing. I love
Yeah.
it because I think, you know, like there's some people that just write hit after hit or whatever, you know, on their own, and well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, two heads are better than one, or even three. You know,
Again, when it works, but you know.
and I'm used to I've co-written a fair bit, so I really like it because you can bounce off each other, and I might, you know, say a line that's like, oh, it's not quite right, but I might trigger another line, and you know, so it's co-writing rocks. I love it.
Yeah, me and Rob Carney, when we get together, we have 6 beers, you know, and sit down in his veranda and a couple of little Marshalls and guitars, and each chord follows each chord, you know, and what's the bridge, you know, and then it's hopefully you recorded it, you know. As Jack Black used to say, always record. But it's good when it works.
Yeah.
But you know, I've done that with other people. It's like, you know,
It doesn't always gel.
no.
Can I tell the story about the last day alive?
Okay.
Rose was doing some work with me at where I used to work in Seven Hills, and we've been working on Last Day Alive, and we'd had a few arguments. There might have been some tears. And
I didn't know you cried, Mick.
yeah. Oh, that's right. And the thing was, it was so close. It was very raw with Rose because it was about a mum.
It was
her
a raw
upbringing.
scene,
Yeah.
And so we're at work, and Rose is at one end of the building, I'm at the other end.
I was having
And
trouble.
I'm walking past us, I'll see you at lunchtime. Right, and we've got a boardroom downstairs. And so come lunchtime, I sat her there and I said, this is going to make you cry, but these are the lyrics, right? And all I'd done
I couldn't finish it.
yeah, and that's the thing, when it's a big emotional involvement, you hit that stumbling block.
Yeah.
And I said, this is pretty straight, it's pretty raw, and it mentions your mum's passing, and then when she cried, and she agreed that's the way it had to be, because she was getting the words out, but we were arguing because I was saying, you know, can we say this in another way?
Yeah.
And at the time, we were just at loggerheads, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then it was like, this is a peace treaty, there's the lyrics, had a cry, and then that's how it came about. So even when we play it live and it's bouncing along, there's still a lot of emotion in it.
Yeah.
That's very emotional for you to
Yeah.
sing.
Oh yeah, it still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And good on you for doing it. Like that's very brave.
Yeah, thank you.
but that's where the balancing act sort of came in with.
Mick's the Libra, I'm the Aquarian.
Yeah.
He's a Skippy, I'm the Italian. That'll give you an idea.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I think she's saying I'm the soothing Aussie and she's the.
Hothead.
Well, actually, that falls into my next question. Who, having read a lot of your stuff and your knowledge, who's the biggest tech head here? Who's the biggest guitar tech head?
I go to see Brad. Brad's guitar guy. Don't muck around.
You're the probably. As in technology in general, me.
Yeah, just, you know, like you talk guitars to me, and I know it's a beautiful guitar, but when you sit there and say, oh, it's got a, you know, DiMarzio, bloody blah, blah, blah,
We both, I mean, Mick probably wins, I'd say, on that.
Yeah.
But I used to work in a guitar store, so
yeah.
years and years
Oh,
ago.
okay. Cool. I noticed you, were you sponsored?
I'm sponsored with Takamania for the last 15 years,
Better mention that.
Getting my new guitar next week.
Yeah.
So, but both of us, but yeah, definitely Mick.
Let's just say tech side, social media, computers, all that. That's Rose.
Very good. I hope we've covered everything. It's just a bit of a chin wag, and
It's been great. Thank you.
I've enjoyed every minute of it, you know, and a lot of emotion there, a little bit of fun, you know.
Yeah, we'll have to have you over for dinner one night.
Hey, you heard it first. Look,
Hang
guys.
on, can I just say here though, you're going to have to get Brendan first, because if he finds out.
I didn't say what I was cooking.
If he finds out Spider
Didn't
gets
say what I was cooking.
Bloody hell.
You better explain that. Yeah, explain that now.
Look, guys, I really appreciate it, especially being your friend. You know, for starters, that's great. That's a bonus. That's a bonus for me. I appreciate you inviting me into the house to do this interview. Great stuff. Congratulations on your grandson.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
all the best for the future for the album. I'm going to just watch it. I know she did that at A Sharp Studios. You've been in there doing that. Great people. You know, I mentioned that before. Best of luck with it all.
Thank you.
And let's rock and roll. And hopefully I'm going to see you on Saturday night.
Yay.
So,
Rock and roll.
we're having a bit of a party. You're Spider, Rose, Mick, Baditude, rock and roll.
Awesome.
Is that alright? Fuck, I hope that was going.
That's great.
Was there supposed to be a light on?
Oh, hey, fuck.
Oh,
Got the merch.
not the merch.
Baditude t-shirts.
Rock and roll.
Really appreciate them.
Woohoo.
Baditude t-shirts. It's all coming out.
Look out.
Baditude hats.
Oh,
rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Get your golfing gear on now. Alright. Not a problem. Yeah, so if we could do something like that, it'd be tops.
G'day, I'm Rose CARLEO,
And I'm Mick Adkins.
and you're watching Baditude Rock and Roll with Spider. What the fuck was that?
Well, we didn't realise what bands we were from.
Oh, you want to do it again?
What was that?
You want to do it again? Yeah.
Oh. You want to go first?
Hello.
Hang on, there you go.
G'day, I'm Mick Adkins from Rogue Sharks and Rose CARLEO Band.
And I'm Rose CARLEO from Not Rogue Sharks. Sorry.
Ruined it. How good was I?
Cut. Take 2. Take 8.
Hi, I'm Rose CARLEO from Rose CARLEO Band.
I'm Mick Adkins from Rose CARLEO Band and Rogue Sharks.
You are watching Baditude Rock and Roll with Spider.